If you look at old TV shows or movies and stuff, sometimes it'll go like you'll see, if not actually said the words, kind of the inference. If you're working, are you working? Do you have a job? Can I get a job? Are you working? If you're working, you're making a living. That's the inference. And it seemed like it. I've said in the past, my own father-in-law worked at a grocery store, an A&P grocery store in Bay City, Michigan, and raised his family on that until he went to Dow. But he didn't. I mean, he could have just raised his family on it. I don't know you could do that today. So what about your job satisfaction? Is it important today to love what you do? It becomes part of your life. We got into this earlier in the show. Let's find out from Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, and Chief Executive in charge of the psychological part of our show. I don't know. I just came up with that one, Doc. I don't know. You put that on your business card or whatever. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. Good talking to you, buddy. And listen, we've discussed a number of times the importance of seeking new employment when one is dissatisfied with their work and recognizing the importance of work for a person's self-image and life satisfaction. I wouldn't change the importance of having a job that is fulfilling. The problem is when people are in a situation where they cannot change their job and they need it for income, health insurance, and various other reasons. Reasons may be a lack of ability to move, lack of needed education or experience, working in an environment where there's little room for promotion, or simply that the job is not fulfilling for the person. And the situation is really very common. A recent poll, Mike, shows that over 50% of employees, workers, have dissatisfaction with their work. And another report found that 30% would like to change their jobs. Now, my view is that this is an unfortunate but not hopeless situation when you have dissatisfaction with your work. To me, this shows the need to look at your whole life and determine where you're going to find happiness. Even if we recognize that one sleeps maybe 8 hours a day and works 40 hours a week, certainly there are exceptions to that, but as a whole, we'll take that for a minute. There are still a number of free hours in the 168 hours that make up a 7-day week. When one has job dissatisfaction, we know it's common with half the people in the country, then utilizing free time becomes even more important to find happiness. This is the time to expand the enjoyment of hobbies, spiritual growth is desired, family activities, leisure activities, music, gaming, favorite TV watching, volunteering, whatever other activities float your boat, if you will, and you find enjoyable, bring them happiness. It's also important to put perspective on the fact one needs a job to survive and to pay for what is necessary and desired in life. Persons also still have the opportunity to try to see if there is a way where they do work, where they can find things that can be more satisfying. A different view and attitude about the job might also be helpful. The critical goal is not to be constantly thinking about the dissatisfaction of the job, which unfortunately too many people do, but to be finding ways to make their overall lives more exciting, enjoyable, and happy through unleashed utilization of their free time. Now, if one finds it difficult to do this, then really seeking out an experienced therapist who's worked with persons with job dissatisfaction may be helpful to give them perspective and a better chance for happiness in their lives in spite of job dissatisfaction. Now, one thing I want to make sure here, Mike, I'm not minimizing job dissatisfaction. I'm not minimizing that this can be a real bummer in one's life. I'm simply saying if a person is in a job, a situation that for now, for whatever the reason, they're not able to get out of it, okay, and they need it, then they have to try to make the best they can with it. But when they're not there, they want to have as many activities and things that are joyful and bring happiness, not just be thinking a lot about being unhappy with the job. Easier said than done, I recognize that, but it really is important to get perspective and try to move forward and be as happy as one can be in their life, because as we've talked many times, life is a one-time shot. So you want to utilize the time that you do have and just find ways to be happy. Good goal in life.
There's a saying, grow where you're planted. And it really, I guess it could speak to your own fortitude and character if And I get it. It can't be easy. I've been fortunate to just do this pretty much my whole life, but you're in a spot, you're in a situation, you got to earn a living, and maybe what you thought you would become isn't what you've become. You got to grow where you're planted. Use those same skills that got you all along because you have these basic skills. Use those where you are and turn it into something. There, there is that.
And that's another thing, too, trying to find happiness and satisfaction where you are. And there are a number of people, too, that have gone through long training periods and have the job they thought they wanted, and once they do it, they find they're not satisfied. That's part of life. I mean, in life, we're not in heaven yet, as my mother would say. She said we have to cut the grass. So I think the main thing is that we need perspective. First of all, we might even work more on gratitude that we do have a job, but it is difficult if you're in the system also where there's no movement. The people ahead of you are maybe the same age, they're not thinking of retiring, and there you are kind of feeling that you're just like Samson there, grilling, working. So, but it's trying to get perspective. But again, there's a lot of hours in a week that a person isn't working, certainly for most people. And that's the time you not want to be moping about, I really don't like my job. No, because 50% of the country had a lot of dissatisfaction in the job for one reason or another. So you just have to find joy if you can, certainly when you're not there. And again, the wise person is going to try to find things that they can enjoy within a job, that they have. And they can, not that the person is going to always be in that job, but if you're in that situation, and I hear this a lot from people, I don't like what I'm doing, I'm not happy, I don't like the people I work with, but I don't have a choice to leave at this time, and I'm sympathetic. I think that's a difficult situation. However, you don't want to have that be destroying the many hours you're not working, so you just need to try to get a perspective and really enjoy yourself. And that's hard for a lot of people to do.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, and hopefully you do have a lot of hours, or at least a few hours where you're not working, because I do know some people who it's like a constant thing, not because they love the work, but because they have to make ends meet. There's more people like that today, I think.
Well, I think that's true. I wouldn't dispute that, and I wouldn't dispute there are a lot of people that work a lot more hours. I'm speaking just as a general rule. If you're unhappy where you're working and you're not able to leave, that is a difficult situation. However, to allow that to control all your time and all your life, which it does with some people, then it becomes really an overly destructive, cancerous activity. That's where I think it's important to get some perspective. Like, okay, I'm doing this for a certain amount of a day, but there are other parts of that day. And if I allow those hours to be moping around unhappy about that job, then the person really has no respite. They're always unhappy. They're in a bad mood. They're grumpy. They're not enjoying things. And that is not the right way to live a life. You try to find things then, whatever it might be. I mean, a lot of people love music. I'm one of them. Love to hear things. They love to talk to people, do things. And so there's so many things you can do. So just be going 24/7 about how unhappy you are about something, that's a bummer, Mike. That's a bad way and an unfortunate way to lead a life. So it's important to really find things that can bring you joy and happiness. Otherwise, oh my, you're going to wear yourself out, everybody else around you, and you're going to get depression, and it's going to be a difficult life. Not what you want.
Always a good touchstone for us on Tuesdays. This time, Dr. John Braccio from Regional Psychological Services. Grow where you're planted, do what you can, have a goal, and don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Doc, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Come on, you're a great guy. Talk to you later, buddy. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye. 1320 WILS, Mike Austin, right back here in a minute.